make sure. All right. So you're live. This is the park picture, July 9th. I don't know how formal you guys want to be. I know we have to specifically state the meeting is being recorded.
Yes.
Because apparently it wasn't obvious from the fact that it's literally being recorded.
Yep.
But wouldn't want an open meeting law complaint.
We would not. And we all have to introduce ourselves, or can we just say?
It's up to you. I know like CPA's been doing that. I think sometimes that's nice if there's people or whatever. I mean.
Okay. Oh, you already started, okay.
Yeah.
So
Let me.
Linda Thompson is present.
Joanne Law.
And then Dan, I'm the Director of Parks and Rec. Where's my phone? Dismiss. No, let me go away.
And then we're supposed to review and consider prior meeting minutes.
I don't have any minutes. We gotta get caught up. It's my fault. It's just a huge backlog of busy work that I just haven't gotten to. Most of them I have the AI. I just need to sit down and put it all together and get them done.
I can help you
Yeah, I mean, going forward,
after Wednesday.
if somebody had time and wanted to, so we'll have there's an AI recap. That's usually pretty good.
Okay.
What it doesn't capture, like you have to record the formal vote. So it doesn't always, like, you know.
When you say record it, you mean actually type it?
Yeah, like so-and-so made a motion to do X, so-and-so seconded, all in favor. And, you know, that, the nuance of that gets lost.
I see.
Somebody needs to make like an AI plugin that could do that.
I wonder if there is one.
And if everyone's full remote, it works really good. Because it knows who you all are.
Okay.
Those are
Right,
decent.
yeah, because your name.
But yeah, we'll get. And the water too, I have to do a bunch of them.
Well, give me a holler. I have open house on Wednesday, but after that, I can help you out.
Are you moving?
Oh, no, sorry, not that kind of open house. Open house at the school.
Oh.
Yeah. I should have specified. I'm not, that I'm aware of.
It's not fun.
All right.
We talked about, what, programming?
Yeah,
Summer
so
programming, we talked about the videos,
if you want to go in.
we talked about the mock signing event. That would be our old business.
Yeah, so I don't know if you just want to go through an order, or if you want me to go through, or
In terms of,
with each item. I think I'll coordinate with, like, when we post meetings, I kind of threw this together.
all right,
I forgot about the holiday, and then was like, oh crap, I need to post this.
all right. So our new business then is the promotion of seasonal summer staff.
And I don't know, sorry, before we get in, if that works for you, that's how I've been doing the agenda, is to just say like, this is a new topic, and then this is something we've been talking about. And then I've been separating out facility use. There really isn't much. Steve says leaving will be in 10 minutes. I just felt like that was its own category, but really it's not much.
That's all right. I like it.
Yeah, so I think, so the question, so for the summer program, we lost a couple senior counselors that we thought we had after orientation. Somebody basically ended up having a second job and couldn't commit. So the recommendation is to promote 3 of our counselors to senior counselor. It was Danielle Sharabis, I don't know how to say her name, Riley Loftus and Maggie Boats. So 2 of them, Danielle and Maggie, the request would be to promote them to senior counselor with a pay rate of 16 per hour, retroactive to their start date. Riley is already getting paid 16. So Riley previously was a rec manager and then had taken an internship, so she could only come back in a limited role. So she came back just as a counselor. And I think she's worked as a senior counselor previously to that. But we kind of talked to her and said, we can't pay you what you were making as a rec manager, but we can't also demote you you know, you've been here for so many years, so she's already at 16, which is the starting rate for the senior counselors. So that's the request if
Sounds like
the
a
board is
no-brainer.
so inclined.
Sure.
So that would probably need a formal vote,
Okay, so
so.
is it for all three or just that?
I usually, when I would do that, I would say like, you know, a motion to promote these three people to senior counselor at a rate of 16 per hour retroactive to their start date.
Okay.
And then somebody would second it and then
I suppose I should read that news.
do that. These are my notes, but yeah.
Motion to promote senior counselors at $16 an hour for Danielle, Riley, and Margaret.
Yeah,
Starting this summer.
retroactive, I think. I would say.
Retroactive.
All right, and then,
Second.
I guess you can call for a vote, but
Right.
she did, but you're gonna formally have to vote, or you have to vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, I usually, you'll see in my minutes, I usually put the votes in hold,
Okay.
but like in my notes, I do that, so I know what the heck is going on.
Okay.
Simplicity.
Can't read anything out of it.
Yeah.
That's too small for me.
All right, the next, the updates on summer programming, I just kind of left this as a standing item. Everything's going well. The camp is wicked busy. We ended up we did get permission to use the church as a main location, however, after we looked at it, they just really want us in that one function space.
Oh, that's hard.
Which is, you know, nothing against them. So the last few days, we've been staying in the park. I have been debating. No. Sorry, this is a phone call on our earlier adventure. Let me just send him a message real quick. I've been debating so if we should be offering some sort of like user credit and saying, listen, like, you know, we don't have a big gymnasium space.
Credit back to the families?
Like if you decide, you know, like you don't want to send your kid because all they're gonna do is sit in the building and watch movies. And we have air conditioning, we have between the beach house and the classroom, we have that tent at the beach, we have canopies. Like Tuesday, they were still swimming in the pouring rain. I mean, the
Kids
kids
don't care.
were having a blast.
As long as it's not lightning, I got them home up there.
I did make contact with 23 Cape Road, the warehouse, and basically said, listen, this is an insane idea, but would you consider discussing with us? And they asked some questions, they're discussing internally to see if it's something they would consider.
Okay.
I'm not so sure, we'll have to look at that space, it may just be one big open room, and it might be very, very loud. It'd be nice because you'd have a much bigger space.
Yeah.
And the kids could, you know, you can't treat it like a gym, but they could play tag or that kind of stuff.
What is the flooring in there?
I think just.
Probably concrete.
Concrete.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, right, so I think we'll have to see,
A lot of Band-Aids.
I mean, we do have that, well, it's smooth, it's nice, perfect, like,
Yeah,
so,
so it's good sliding.
yeah. We do have the church, I mean, we do have the church, so if we had, you know, a horrible day, storms and stuff, we do have a location, it just basically means, you know, a bunch of kids sitting in one room watching movies. There's really not much else we can do there. And hopefully it's just a one-year thing.
Mhm.
And the schools will be back next year once they finish all the work they're doing. But that's kind of that. We had tried, and I gotta post it one more time, the tennis in the park program. I don't think we're gonna have the numbers to run it.
Oh, no kidding.
We're not, let me see if I can find it.
Let's do that.
We get like some really dedicated interest, but then,
If it was pickleball,
yeah, I don't know if they, and I, like, if we could find, as Steve was saying, like if we could find somebody to do pickleball, like a pickleball program that might be of more interest, maybe it's different. Because there's like 5 or so people that like really are passionate and interested in this program. I feel bad. We've made a few attempts.
Yeah.
This doesn't want to load. Why can't I see the people? Tennis in the parks. I just looked this up. It didn't. So I unfortunately. Oh, here we go. Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 people, which I don't think is going to make the minimums, which is too bad.
Where's the minimum for the tennis?
I forget the exact. It's complicated. And we need to run 2 of the 3 classes. They can, and they need 14 total people with the smallest class size of 4. So 4 and 10, or 6 and 8. So we have 6, but I'm not sure we're gonna get another.
Nobody entertained changing it to pickleball if the tennis is not gonna get us the.
I mean, we would need to find an instructor. So this is through the US Tennis Association.
Oh,
They
that's.
hire an instructor, they show up, they do the thing, we make like 10, 20 bucks a head. It's more of, it's a program, it's not like we're not making a fortune on this, it's just something to do. So I think if we could find somebody that wanted to be a pickleball instructor, maybe it's worth like putting that out there. That would be something that would gather interest.
I know that
You're like,
our pickleball, we do, I think 4 sessions a year, and then we have wait lists still.
yeah. So who does, like somebody through you does it?
Yeah, it was actually a guy who, he came to us. He's retired now, and this is like one of his big passions is
Yeah.
is pickleball. And I really didn't know anything about it. I've learned a lot.
Because in the past, when we did the Zumba program, and it was just like like 75, 25, 65, 35 split with the instructor. And I think it depends how they're set up. So like if they're just 1099, then they have their own insurance.
I mean, I'll ask him. I
Yeah.
can send him an email later. And
Yes, yeah, maybe there's like an association we can contact and see who's out there.
I'm not a pickleballer, but
Yeah, I don't know, maybe Steve has an
I was gonna
idea.
say Steve probably, I know he plays regularly, so I might know an organization. It's such that and disc golf.
Disc golf's a big one.
Well, Ellen is, the town clerk is super passionate, it's just,
Golf is very big with people.
trying to bring up, it got voted down, I think we tried twice.
Mahjong.
Yeah, Mahjong's another one that's very
Yeah.
popular.
I think they're doing that at the senior center, are they? That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think that's seniors are.
Seniors are, yeah, I saw the ad for it.
But yeah, there's those 3 are the most popular things right now.
So the swim lessons are fine, we did the first session, the next one starts next week. We just did the 3 levels, that seems to be working good, I think those are achievable.
I'll inquire. You wanted to do something over the summer. He may just be doing his own thing over the summer.
Yeah, I'll look around and see if there's anything out there we could find.
Like, you could probably do a very short social media post and probably get more offers.
Yeah, well, I'll try and do that too, and just say, hey, is there someone out there that wants to be a pickleball instructor? Well, we should ask Steve though, maybe there's somebody who plays that for, maybe you want, I don't know. I think Chris was doing something in Hatfield.
Okay. That would be great.
Um,
I feel like somebody in town would be a great solution.
Well, that was like the Zumba, with somebody who lived in town, that was really nice. I don't know, we tried yoga, we didn't really get a lot of interest. I think the fitness, there's a lot of competition now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Boat races on Monday.
I'm gonna miss it on Saturday.
I don't know how many boats they have, not too many.
No, not too many?
I think forget what he said now, 10 or 12 was the
Okay.
number.
Can you sign up that night?
I think they'll take them maybe this
Expired that day.
Friday, the day before.
Okay.
I'm not sure the brothers are doing it on this.
Mine's are,
Are they?
yeah, I know, my husband's in it.
Oh, good. I know Mark, I think was asking about it, Mark Gomes. Maybe they did decide to make one. That's a fun event.
I love that. Made one 2 years in a row and then it's just trying to do other stuff, so.
Oh, and the other summer program update is I think, knock on wood, we finally might have a credit card terminal.
Oh, good.
I was on an
Really?
hour-plus phone call today, three-way call with tech support, but at the end of it, it worked. And I tapped my card and charged it out.
No way.
That's awesome.
I need to set it up
That
on
could
the.
change everything.
Yeah.
And we take credit cards, but it's stupid. I have to take your card and basically type your numbers in.
Yeah.
And it's a pain in the butt. So this is a vendor that's connected with Unibank that the church wants to connect
Oh,
with.
that's good.
So the big problem we have is all the fees. Because if you're private, they'll just deduct the fees from the bank account and that's totally cool.
Yeah.
But as a town, we can't operate that way.
Right.
Howdy.
That's good news. Emergency solved, I know?
Nope.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. It's a slow drip, but I gotta get it fixed. It's dripping from one apartment to another. Yeah.
But say, I think we may finally be able to do proper tap to pay at the beach.
Oh, cool.
I finally got it working, so I gotta set it up on the machine in the snack shack,
Mm-hmm.
make sure it works, and then they can do the changeover. But then they'll bill us for fees. The downside is, so we've got Ultra Camp for the summer program. And that's our registration software. And then Rec 1 is the point of sale, and that was our old registration software. We were paying, it was $100 a month.
Yeah.
So $1,200 a year. And I figured it was worth it to keep it going and keep our legacy data.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they do want to up the rate because we're on a very old contract once we make this change. It sounds like it's gonna be almost $2,000 annually for third-party credit processing.
Okay.
And I think another, here, what did she tell me? Hang on.
And do we charge a fee, a percentage?
So we have always traditionally just ate the fees and built them into our pricing. It kind of always bugged me that, everything's like nickel and dime for fees.
Right.
Yeah.
So we just kind of covered it.
Yeah, I think if we build it in, it's.
We're certainly making, we're in good shape.
Yeah, and if someone pays cash, you're not giving them a discount, so you're kind of making a little bit of extra that we're going under the assumption that everybody's gonna pay with credit.
So I'm gonna find her.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, good lord, sorry, there were so many emails on this. But I think we may wanna look at some other solutions out there, I guess is my point for next year. The one thing that Civic Rec can do, which we talked about last meeting, they do have an integration with Musco. And from the conversation I had with the account manager, and I wanna verify that it works and see it in practice, but I believe we could set up a system where you could go there, pull up your phone and pay $5 to turn the lights on and they would turn on.
Wow.
I think there's a 15-minute delay,
Yeah.
but it doesn't require any integration or any of us having to approve something.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be value added to
Yeah.
have an opportunity to say, turn the lights on.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And then obviously we would have something that would, doesn't matter if you're there at 11 o'clock at night, it's not gonna go.
Yeah, it's, when it's allowed,
Yeah.
approve it. And I almost wonder, which we'll get to later in the agenda, if that's the solution for the youth sports issue with lights is to just say, here you go pay and schedule yourself. And pay
Yeah.
right up front. I don't know, but I am trying to get a quote from Musco on that point of use push button system.
Mm-hmm.
They were supposed to come out and look at things, and I haven't heard back, so I don't know what's going on with that. And I wouldn't want to spend $20,000 on
Right.
it.
No.
Either,
Yeah.
but So that would be the argument to sticking with Civic Rec. Otherwise, I wonder if we might want to transition to just a traditional point of sale system.
Like a square or something.
You know, we can use this converge Elbon terminal because now that's great. It links with the bank. They're going to invoice us for the fees. That's the problem.
Yeah,
So they can just invoice us for the fees separately. It's so much cleaner.
okay.
Um,
So they don't just take the fees off the top?
They can't, because, well, so this is the problem we're having, because we're a town. They could take the fees off the top and give us the net deposit.
Yeah.
That's totally cool, which is what PaySafe was supposed to do for
Yeah.
UltraCamp. And then all of a sudden, they decided they needed debit access to our bank account. And we said, well, that's not an option.
No, you can't do that.
Oh, okay, you got the, no problem. Then 6 months later, same thing, so they ended up, they had like 130,000 locked up, they held it hostage. And we ended up switching to UltraCamp directly, and they have their own system now and fixed it all. And was still fighting with them, they wanted, it was like $50 in fees, legitimate fees that we owed, and I'm like, send me a bill.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to wire money, like, no, we don't wire money, send me a bill.
Send me a bill.
And so I think UltraCamp ended up paying it, because they were so frustrated with this
Oh, yeah.
disaster. But so, this Elbon Converge is tied to Unibank, so it's specifically geared to municipalities. So like somebody manually is having to put those fees on an invoice, and like it's work that, you know, normally, you know, Square doesn't wanna do.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, Viewpoint uses Stripe, and they just take the fees off the top and it's no problem.
Yeah.
And UltraCamp, when we started with them, was supposed to use Stripe. And so we're like, this is perfect, and then when we sat down, oh, we don't partner with them anymore. It's like, well, okay. Whoops, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we'll have to reevaluate that, like, into next season, what makes sense, you know, I mean, because the Musco situation would cost money, you know, so is it worth spending, you know, potentially a couple thousand a year for something that's maybe not, is or isn't gonna make us a couple thousand back?
Yeah.
You know, we're not gonna make thousands of dollars in lights.
Yeah, I wouldn't wanna lose money, I mean, break even, right? Like.
Yeah. So anyway, that's,
Or, you know, you do the, like you said, like if we leave the lights on from dusk to
yeah.
9:30, it's $88 for the whole summer.
Well, I think this push button system
Yeah.
can be set up so it'll turn the lights on the lower level. So same deal, just push like it was in the old days, just push the button, the lights turn on for an hour.
Yep.
And right at the end of the year, we pay, you know, $100. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
But at least it'll get us through this year,
Yeah.
and if we, because we probably need to maintain access to those files in Rec One, Civic Rec, at least for like a year, till we're sure we don't need anything anymore.
Now, is there something they can give us like a file download or?
Yeah, I mean, I can export all of our data, just then I end up with a giant CSV file.
Yeah.
You know, so like if, you know, you wanna know your kids, you know, a statement for your kids to attend camp last year, I can just go run that report.
Oh,
as opposed to
yeah.
having to pour through paper.
Yep.
I mean, definitely UltraCamp has made major improvements, like the check-in, check-out now is a tablet, so that's cool.
That's great.
The whole system is much more user-friendly. The only thing missing is the waitlist functionality, which is what I remember, I think I talked to you. I have to have a conversation with them before next year, and how we gotta configure something different. But if we can get that, we're golden. That'd be great. Because apparently, so the problem was, we can have waitlist functionality, but then I have to charge the same price for every day. And I can't do the weekly discount, so you sign up for all 5 days, you get $25 off. Or if I have the daily pricing module, apparently that doesn't work with the waitlist, which I don't understand. But quite honestly, what I've learned now, I will manually post that $25 discount, that will be less work. Because the beauty of the waitlist is you sign up, and if a spot opens up, it just emails you and says, a spot's opened up, you have 24 hours to approve it, or we go to the next person. And we don't do any work. So I think that's worth it.
Plus, everybody loves this.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we probably gotta keep those. The goal was to incentivize full weeks. I don't know how much that is, and I will have to talk about the camp and whether we wanna do resident, non-resident pricing. We definitely need to come up with some sort of a pre-registration lottery system. I'm gonna have to research what our options are. But probably prioritizing Mendon, residents and maybe, and somebody else suggested maybe prioritizing returning people too.
Do mend residents first and then returning people.
Yeah.
That way they don't.
Because I think now there's such a push to read, we're at that point that we're full within a month, if that,
That's great.
which
That's
costs.
a good program.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
That means the kids are having fun
Mhm.
and parents are happy.
so that, I guess, is that. I put something on here about capital projects. And I think some of this we talked about, but, so the town, they asked us to submit things for their capital listing. So what I have right now is the recreation building. Repairs to Tatro Field and irrigation on Tatro Field. So that would be like overseeing the field, probably top dressing it, trying to level it out.
Mhm.
And then expanding irrigation to water that area as well.
Oh, yeah.
Down at the beach, I would love to, again, do irrigation and completely reseed that because it sucks.
Mhm.
And I think we.
Now, what about the road, like you had said, like, they didn't do it this year, but that road, is that on?
So that project, I don't know if it's, what they're defining as capital is 25,000 or more.
Mhm.
That should be minimal.
Oh, okay.
Supposedly, as soon as they have access to millings,
Yep.
and then John's gonna reach out, we're gonna discuss if it makes sense to do this year. We definitely need to, it has to happen for next year.
Yeah.
It is a non-negotiable, I don't care if we have to buy millings.
Yeah.
We are having major conflict, space conflict with baseball tournaments and just, or the alternative is we're gonna tell baseball they cannot be on the field before 6 p.m.
Mhm.
We just, enough is enough, it's just, and it's nobody's fault, it's just too much activity.
Yeah.
Because our drop off, we use that whole loop, but then people start parking and then it gets tricky.
Mhm.
And they seem to have these big blowout tournaments and they have the games starting at like 5:15.
So putting in this road will kind of
So there's,
circumvent that.
there'll be a driveway across from the Pizzella shack, all the way across through that gate behind the tennis. We'll have to think about, we may have to have somebody kind of stand there and be traffic cop a little bit.
Yep.
And we haven't decided which direction. But the idea is that's your drop off pickup. On a rain day, it goes right by the classroom, so then
Yeah.
if we're in the classroom, we're still right there. The kids are at the playground, so now not having to walk all the way up
Mhm.
to like where the bathrooms are, because that's right now when they get in the cars.
Yeah.
And baseball can do whatever they want because it's just that exit
Mhm.
or entrance.
Yeah.
It doesn't interfere with any of the rest of that parking lot.
Mhm.
Sounds super.
It'll be minimal, we're talking, even if we have to spend money, we're talking a couple, $5,000-$10,000 in millings.
Yeah.
The labor is basically free.
Yeah.
Because Highway will do it.
Yeah.
They're gonna do, I think he talked to somebody about I want a full gate on both sides.
Mhm. That makes sense.
Chain, because we have to open it every day.
Yeah.
Like we built the green one going to the bathrooms and the ones one in Inman Hill,
Mhm.
we had built, and it was like $2,000 of materials.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot. Yeah, so that, I didn't even put that on here because I figured it was small.
Mhm.
I have the cameras on here still. And I think at this point, we were hoping he could come in and do some stuff before the end of the year, but
Yeah.
that didn't happen. So I think the plan for the cameras is I'm gonna write up a full scope of work for the whole project.
Okay.
We'll get pricing,
Yeah.
we'll go to the selectmen, get approval to exceed our $10,000 cap,
Mhm.
and then just get somebody to do it and and if he wants to bid on it, that's great, but rather than trying to finagle something through, let's just do it all and be done. I mean, I think his quote was 36, I think we'll probably cut some stuff, so I think it's $30,000.
Yeah.
And my intention right now is, the building will need to sort out funding.
Yeah.
That would end up, I think, being debt that we would be making payments on. Tatro Field is potentially a CPA project,
Okay.
preservation. The cameras, I think we would probably need to self-fund through revolving. And I don't know what other funds might be out there, probably nothing from public safety. Same with the beach work.
Well, what about like public safety grants?
Yeah, I asked, I'm not sure there's much. I think the question, one of the things we talked about was like a license plate reader.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be something to go to them and say, hey, listen, this thing alone is $2,000. Do you think you can cover this out of your budget? Because this would really benefit you, public safety
Yeah,
versus like, that doesn't really matter for recreation. You know, if that's as important to you, maybe they can fund it that way. And then the last one on here was beach bathrooms. So we had funding approved for a septic design, to do like a leaching field across the street and pump everything from the beach. So assuming that's viable, they're gonna have to do perk testing. Then I think phase 2 would be a renovation of the bathrooms at the beach.
oh, okay, where would they put the leaching fields?
I think the only place it can go is next to Lowell Field.
Oh,
Back there, because it has to be outside of a 400-foot radius of our well,
oh, okay.
because we can't locate a septic in the zone 2 of our own well.
Mm-hmm.
But the neighbor's septic, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the neighbor grandfather?
No, it's just because they don't own, we can't control it.
Oh,
Which is fine, except that's a wet area of the park.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm actually meeting with somebody from Allen Engineering next week. They want to do a site walk and go over everything and see where things would lay out. So we'll find out. But I think the beach bathrooms, it would probably make sense. I mean, those showers aren't usable. We don't need them. I think it would make sense to just like get rid of that whole building and start over.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to just see individual, like exterior facing, basically stalls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you walk in, there's a sink and a toilet, and that's it, 3 or 4 would be amazing.
like when you go camping?
Yeah, well, like, plumbed water, running water.
Well, running water, but that's
But
not,
even, potentially like, like a prison style where it's like the toilet and the sink right there, like a small, I think that would be more suited towards the users of that space.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bunch of unisex bathrooms, rather than have, like, I don't think you need a bathroom with multiple stalls in the bathroom,
Yeah, like,
like the park.
you just have it so that the door says it's occupied
Yeah,
or not
right.
occupied,
Yeah.
and it's a whole
Just
thing all the way up.
And we put those changing stalls in the beach house, so that's helped a lot. But
Full doors. So like if there's no.
I think we need to work with maybe an architect or designer to come up with some plans on what's feasible. My kind of vision would be exterior facing doors with no, just you walk in and that's it. Unless that really doesn't make sense. I don't think there's enough room there to really have a larger building with like you have the park.
mm-hmm.
You like walk in and there's stalls in there. I did not include them as the town did an ADA audit that we're hopefully gonna get soon, so there'll probably be some recommended work through that. That is all CPA eligible.
Oh, okay, good.
So once we get that, there wasn't a lot, there was so like, up at the park, apparently our stalls aren't the right size, a couple of them, which is interesting. So some of that, find out if that can be fixed. And some of it's more, I hate to, like, it's not necessarily work we have to do, it's just we need to be aware of that it's out of compliance.
Yeah.
Do they all have to be ADA compatible or?
Yeah, so like you have to have, like, we have one ADA stall,
Okay.
and the rest are not, but now they're saying the ADA stall is not the right size. Just infuriating, because how do you screw that up?
Yeah.
Somebody did.
The beach is better, actually way better than I thought. All Sean's Clifton stuff is perfect.
Yeah.
We were thinking the bathroom had to get reconstructed, but it's actually really not far off at all. We might have to move the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think looking there, I'd, move the toilet, maybe do a floor grade. But once we get that report, we'll know more. I don't anticipate us needing anything in November. Maybe if I can get some, I have irrigation, Emerald is coming out to talk to me about the beach in Tetro.
Yeah.
Maybe those are projects to bring to the CPA for November. And I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts of capital things or short-term stuff that sticks out. My thought with Tetro was it gets us another field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is special, so it sounds like the fields in Upton are gonna be, they're gonna be delayed even more.
Yeah,
And they're going from an 8-lane track to a 6-lane track.
oh, the turf field.
Yeah, the turf field, but just having the extra field is gonna be huge, just having it available for use.
Well, you got, so it's on here later in the agenda, like, in the fall, soccer is gonna be on Grover,
Mhm.
and then just Wednesday, Friday at Clough. Field hockey's gonna be Mondays at Clough. Football's gonna be Tuesday, Thursdays at Clough.
Mhm.
Football's also gonna be Tetro 5 days a week because they can't use NISCO.
Yeah,
So that's a big crunch. But I don't think there's any baseball use on Tetro Field. So it'd be nice to have that be more usable.
yeah,
And then once the schools open back up, it'll be much, simpler. I guess that's pretty much it for that. And then I put the mock signing event on here. I do think this board probably should take a formal vote to like approve this as a field use permit event.
I have to recuse myself.
yeah.
Well, I don't think you do though, because you're not personally involved and you don't have a personal financial interest. Everything you're doing with this event is in your capacity as a town official.
Cultural council or.
It'd be different if like this was, your private company would be around,
Yeah.
Nothing's benefiting me.
but it's a town event. And this is a town event, so I think I'll put it through as if like a permit, so it's in the system.
Okay,
I think I would maybe suggest that we take a vote to approve this event and waive the fees as it's a town event.
So took a motion to accept the August 2nd mock signing event in concert and waive the fees associated with it.
second.
All in favor?
Like, so that's what the AI doesn't always capture, like that nuance.
Got it.
And then I think I had a couple of questions about the event, but I don't know if you had any updates or.
Sure.
wanna let you
Go
know.
ahead and ask.
So I think, so we talked about, so trash, I'm gonna reach out to John. I'm assuming he's gonna wanna staff the grounds foreman that day to be on site. So when the town switched over, I don't know if you guys know this, when the town switched over to totes, everybody was like, what do we do with our trash barrel? So they had a dumpster, so I went dumpster diving, and we have like 20 or 30 like perfect trash cans
It's sitting at my
that we
house.
saved for events.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I have 4 of them in my house.
People pulling out perfectly good, clean trash cans.
Yeah,
We have like a bunch of old recycle bins for like toys at the beach, and tons of them.
yeah,
You do.
Yeah, I saved a ton of them to use for like when we put all our games and balls and things in.
Do you have any extra spare ones, possibly? You would get them back.
Yeah, probably.
Reason I'm asking is, we're asking people if you're coming to the event to bring their non-perishable.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Food drive.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have bins set up for them, so that's why I'm asking.
I saw that post.
Yeah.
And it said pillory, I'm like, what are they talking about? And then I was like,
Google
oh
pillory.
no, that was intentional, they're literally going to be a pillory.
Yeah, we're gonna be in a pillory. We're having a pillory jail, and we'll put somebody in the pillory jail, and you'll have to pay to get them out. We haven't settled the fees yet, but all the money that we collect between the pillory and the jail, we're gonna split between the food pantry and historical society.
Okay.
That's where that's gonna
Oh, good.
Plus, we're gonna have bins for food pantry as well. So that's why we're doing it.
Yeah. But, yeah, so I think, so they'll handle trash,
Okay.
and that sort of thing. We'll probably need to figure out a plan. I can probably have my staff at the end of Friday, assuming the weather's good, pull all the chairs out. Or maybe, because the chairs are in the classroom, the folding metal chairs for the band.
Okay.
Or maybe we just tell the band, go get your chair.
Or else, if I can get access to it, I can,
We'll make some of them.
Okay.
And they always go back afterwards, but so if we can just tell them the band, like, hey, because the band can maybe use that space in the green room to leave their cases and stuff.
oh, true, okay,
Grab a chair.
okay.
I don't know what did you guys end up deciding on parking?
We are going to park down here at Clough. We've got two
You're on a
buses.
shuttle.
And we've got 2 buses for shuttles.
Because I was thinking what I'd like to
We
do,
want to limit parking up there as much as possible.
I would suggest. I was thinking about the boat race, I'm gonna have to reserve some spaces for my staff. I'd like to block off like where the classroom is,
Mm-hmm,
and then, actually, what we should do is block off that road going up, like right where that catch basin is, that big block.
Mhm.
And then use that for staff parking that need to be there, like maybe have it permitted. So you're probably gonna wanna be there.
Right, like the brothers are gonna wanna be.
Certain,
because
yeah,
they're
each
gonna
of the people with the food,
stuff.
they, certain,
Yeah.
tell the band, we have 10 spots, I know I have
But
like
what I
5 or
could
6
do is
staff.
create little
Yeah,
permanent things that say you're eligible to park at the parking, this is where you
Well,
go.
that's it, so I went to there was a watch party in Franklin for World Cup, and that's what they did for vendors, they just said, they gave them a parking permit, said you can go park in these areas.
for the Millville, and then for Taft Lot, I know there are a few residents that do normally park there, if we just leave that alone, it'll just fill up, and it'll be beached, but, encourage the public to use the shuttle.
Yeah,
And
That's
that
what
way,
we
and the beach we might keep the beach open a little later, but the beach will close around 7.
okay,
And then, I don't know, it's up to you what you wanna do with the Millville Road lot. It'll have to get blocked off going to the back for the
Well,
fireworks.
we're gonna have, it's gonna be blocked up to the back that's going, but they're gonna put 3 porta potties on that side of the lot. And then we've got Sweetwise ice cream coming.
Okay, so you're gonna have, because my suggestion is potentially, if you're not gonna use it for parking, it might be a good idea to block it with cones and get a 8-foot piece of plywood that somebody spray paints, no parking, event park, and tells them where to go, because everybody's gonna go there. And
Okay,
have it at the Rock the Block,
yeah, all right.
or maybe, and I don't know why should the plan, and then, what about ADA, are we telling them,
We're gonna have ADA, we'll put some certain spots up there for ADA.
will they run the senior van?
I'm not sure yet.
Because if I'm in a wheelchair, I can't get on the school bus.
Right, so we can either run the,
I mean, the park is, just leave it, but we can designate some spaces, and we've done that too, and just put a placard on a stick and stapled it and put it around.
that's what I think we're gonna do. I think we're gonna put ADA, have anybody who's got ADA to park up at the field, with a limited amount of parking up there.
But I would, maybe, and if you haven't, then maybe the scouts are willing to help.
I haven't reached out to them.
I don't think the Explorer program really exists, because you really need
I was
bodies.
just gonna ask, does that exist
I
anymore?
think they've stopped. That's the key, is it kind of has to be either physically blocked or staffed.
Okay.
Because people,
People park.
they move barricade, they park wherever they want, they do not,
Yeah.
And I looked, I think you made an event. I saw that.
Yes,
You may wanna, I don't know who's on it, or if you wanna add Mendon Parks as a co-host,
okay,
I can help, because one of the things to watch out for is anything you post to do with tickets, you're gonna get all those stupid
we're not
AI,
gonna do any tickets or anything
you
like
know,
that.
well, I have tickets for sale, message me, it's there's so many
Right.
bots now.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So I do them on the brother's page, I didn't have to go and delete them, but they're relentless.
Yeah, they are gonna have 3 hot dogs, soda and chips. 1,000 hot dogs, that we're gonna give away. But if Sweetwise is coming, they'll pay for ice cream. And
Is that an ice cream truck?
Yeah, he's an ice cream truck,
Yeah.
and you'll pay for your ice cream and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That would be free, but, me and family was generous enough to say we will cover food, so we're doing 1,000 hot dogs.
And you may wanna
It's great.
think about, or maybe even connect with somebody, those vendors that sell all that. But you may wanna reach out and tell one of them, we'll bring you on, give you a permit to be the official person, and you pay us, $500. Cause they're gonna show up.
I'm going
Yes,
to,
right?
I'm going to the Uxbridge
Okay.
thing
Yeah.
on Saturday night, so I'm gonna see who's there. And,
Cause they're kind of relentless, and unfortunately, you may not get a lot of help enforcing things. We had issues with the 350th that they just show up.
yeah.
It might be worth bringing in more food trucks and.
Well, we already had 2 other people reach out to us asking about it, so, one of them is the kettle corn person, which we're gonna go with, and then, Big Daddy's reached out, I believe, and asked.
Cause that might take the pressure off the food too, even.
Oh, that's why, I'm like, why does that sound familiar?
Yeah, so, so we'll play,
And you're not doing, there's no alcohol.
no alcohol, no. We have the band until 7:30, and then after that, Monoja will be doing it. We are going to have games to play, and one of them will be an apple pie eating contest.
Oh, yeah, all of it, that's good. And he's gonna come, so we should maybe if you wanna connect me, I know him, but connect me with him for the, like, when he's gonna set up and when he can plug in. Because I think if he could set up on that court and he can be the sound system, so like for the band's announcements, if he's willing to be there all day, that would be my suggestion. And have him there, and he can make announcements and blah, blah, blah.
Okay, yeah, so we're gonna do an apple pie, and like I said to Karen, she's gonna reach out to him, ask him what other games he's willing to play, and we'll give away like $10 gift card to the Muffin House, or, different things like that, so, that way there. So that's something to do till it's 5.
And then I think so the band will end and then fireworks, we're thinking?
And band's playing from what, 6:30 to 7:30?
I haven't really gotten they're not the most responsive. My impression is that they will be done before you want to do the fireworks.
Right, I think it's only there an hour, right?
Oh. Hang on a second, we just lost our internet. Okay. Because then we lose the recording.
I think they're only there for like an hour, correct me if I'm wrong.
They're just gonna do a concert, and I don't know how long the concert's are.
Well,
I'm trying to get like an answer from them on.
All right, I'll reach out to him tomorrow directly myself, because once he's done, we're just gonna have the DJ play his music and whatever
Yeah.
else to do on it. So I'd rather have him do the band concert early.
I mean, that works for me because it's gonna be tricky to, like, we're gonna wanna like shut the lights off and then do a countdown.
Right,
And that may take like a.
good 10 minutes.
There's a chance, well, was I gonna log in and.
We're gonna take them all down.
Would it kill to have a fingerprint ID in this stupid app?
But yeah, so that's what
We did it, lock the block, and then I think, there's a chance I may end up playing with them, we'll see.
Yeah.
I asked them if they needed people.
Oh, so you're gonna play with that concert then?
Sometimes I feel them with them.
Oh, okay.
I'll be there anyway.
But yeah, so that's the plan right now, so.
Perfect, so it sounds like, I don't think there's anything else weird or crazy or. You said you had sax, so you need, because I have some somewhere,
I need, stacks, you mean?
like a sack race.
Stack race, we might need some if we do a
I
stack.
don't know where they are, but we had some.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember where they came from, they were like
I went to a
Red Barn, is the place talked to, Red Barn Coffee, but
Yeah.
I think we have some if I can find them.
Yeah,
And the brothers have, talk to the agent, maybe they wanna bring it to cornhole,
okay.
maybe they didn't want to do a cornhole tournament, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes usually they want alcohol.
I went to one for the cornhole, but because it was a colonial-esque theme, they changed it to the dried corn husks.
Yeah, oh, okay.
So everybody was new, so it was
Yeah.
kind of hilarious because nobody was good.
And then the Horribles Parade is here,
I've got to, the gentleman on the
Over
fire, the lieutenant that's running the horse.
would they rather do the Horribles Parade later, to the park, like they do the, I don't
Well,
know.
I don't know, because the lieutenant that's running the parade
Yeah.
is on vacation.
Well, I think it's Chris, right?
No,
Oh, it's
it's a
not
different one, no,
Okay.
hold
Is it
on.
Craig?
No, it doesn't sound like.
Because I just saw Chris today, under not great circumstances, unfortunately, it's the ambulance.
Lenny,
Oh, Lenny, okay,
he's
yeah.
on vacation, because, I don't know if they're gonna do it like when we do our thing and come down, or they're gonna do it later, but they wanted to do it in conjunction,
I kind of feel like you want them to do it first, and then you have a captive audience for your thing,
Well, we were thinking.
but you have a lot of little kids, so I don't know if
Yeah,
they
well-
care about it, you know what I mean? It's-
Well, what we were thinking is, we would have, they usually come down Maple.
Yeah.
We'd rather, if they're gonna do it, come down Main, close Main
Yeah,
down,
yeah.
Main's there. So they could start at, the end, the tavern, and then the Horribles Parade would go first, because you get the fire trucks that make all the noise, and the kids all in the front.
Yeah.
And then you'd wait a few minutes, right, or so, because we've got a fife and drum corps,
Yeah,
which we're gonna reach out to ask, and have them march down with all the delegates that can walk, or, don't have any difficulties in movement, come down to the town hall. But I've gotta talk to the lieutenant to find out what their plan was, because they're not
Ask-
gonna be able to do hot dogs.
ask him though if he'd rather do it, so when they do the opening day parade, they go from Kelly Road and they come right onto the park.
Mhm.
What if they did it at 6 o'clock and come to the park, and then everybody's at the park for this event?
We
at the
could
park?
do it that way too,
I see what I don't know if that's better or worse, because maybe it's you know,
I don't know, because they're not gonna be able to do any food or anything here
Yeah.
because we've got our event.
Right.
And like I said to AJ, I said, you're more than welcome to go up to the park, because they're gonna get free hot dogs up there at 6:30, you know?
or even like if they don't, it doesn't even necessarily need to be a street parade, like they could just have everybody like march around the park.
Yeah, so I.
'Cause that's more of a, it's about the kids, it's not
Yeah.
a parade.
I gotta ask him.
Yeah, see what he
That's a good
thinks.
idea.
It is a good idea,
Yeah,
so
it's a
it's,
good
I
idea.
gotta ask what their intentions are as far as that goes.
And you're using the sound system that's here for this, so that's all set, we just gotta.
Correct, you gotta set it up ahead of time.
just do-
And then I've got the chairs for here coming from the senior center. I'm gonna be picking those up. I've got 56, they've got 60 chairs, so I'll be bringing those over here for that. And then we close the street down
Yeah.
for it to stop, we'll have all the chairs set up.
Are those gonna be, when are you bringing them here, like,
I'm gonna pick them up on Saturday probably.
oh, just for the event?
Just
'Cause
for
they
the
could,
event.
we could probably put them like in the hallway somewhere.
Oh, all right, because if I can pick them up ahead of time, that's fine.
Especially if you know, we're closed on Fridays,
Oh,
so
okay.
they, you know, you can just, you know, not blocking it, you can put them all in the hallway up against the wall or
Okay,
somewhere,
all
stack
right,
it
then
up.
I'll plan on doing it for Friday then.
I mean, if it's something that the town can help, they could do it on Thursday and see if, ask John if they can help move them, I mean,
Yeah,
that's a
so
lot of.
that will be the end of that, and that will take care of that for the seating out here.
Do you have a fob for this building? Okay, so maybe we should think about.
Do you know if we got our copy of the recreation of the Declaration of Independence that they're giving for all the towns?
It's the first time, are they doing, is this a new thing?
All 350 towns in the state of Massachusetts are getting a copy of the original declaration made on the same type of paper that was done on the original.
Let me read about this, I have not heard anything, but
I know
sometimes,
because I was at Uxbridge's bonfire and their state representative brought it there and gave it to them.
I don't know if they reach out to, like, if that's something that would have gone to Ellen, or if it would have gone to, like, you'd think it would go to the Historic Commission,
Mm-hmm.
but then I find some of that stuff goes to Kathy, but she would have said something.
She would have told me if we did. I'm just curious because that day it would be nice to have that on display with the resolutions that will be on display.
Let me find out.
I definitely heard about that on.
It's a beautiful document, it's like this big, it's like the exact size of the original and everything, because I saw it.
Have you invited, like,
Brian
Brian?
Murray is coming,
Oh, good.
Senator Fatman can't make it. He cannot, and I haven't heard back from Wash.
Yeah.
Brian,
Is
Brian,
Neil still ours as well, Richard Neil, or is he, maybe he got replaced by
he
auction?
got, he might have got
I mean, they
me.
shifted something.
But Brian Murray will be at the inn at 2
Right,
o'clock
yeah.
to take a tour of that, and then he's gonna come down here
Okay.
for the ceremony.
Brian always comes to everything,
So, yeah.
he's, yeah, I don't know who else, is Jeremy gonna do it?
Jeremy, I asked Jeremy if he's coming. I know all 5, as far as I know, all 5 select board members are
Yeah.
signing. I've been told that. Because I said they are the current day founding fathers for the town, so they should represent and sign.
Mhm.
Ellen is signing and Lori is signing as well.
All right, well, I'm gonna put, and I'll just put it through so it's all blocked out, because I think there shouldn't be anything going on, everything's done, but I'll make triple check, like with baseball, softball.
I was gonna say, I'm assuming Chauvin is a baseball
Were they-
game.
Like,
Well-
that's on the
It's
agenda.
very Americana.
Yeah, too, yeah. Well, guess what, guys, you're gonna be playing through 5, through all of this.
And then, I mean, I will say, if you're allowing food trucks, you might consider, they may wanna open up their stands and maybe they, you know, maybe do a limited thing, just if, you know, if you're doing it that way, because they'll do it and make some money,
Okay.
if you, it's up to you, but.
And I did, the front of the town hall, I've got pull downs that will go up. I already
Okay.
talked to the fire
Oh, good.
chief about getting them out. And, I have buntings to put on the railings, and I already took care of the 2 buildings
saw that,
up the
yeah.
street. I know, I told my husband, I said, watch out for the shutters, they're not stuck on.
I don't even know that, because I was like putting wires behind the whole thing, like, oh geez.
Yeah.
I fixed one of them. They're not historic, they need to come off, but that's a project that someday somebody will do.
So, yeah.
That's what Gail says. Did she reach out? Because I sent it to her, Hazel Charlesworth.
I have
She
not,
said her daughter was like wicked into this stuff. I'm gonna bug
I
her.
haven't heard anything. I have
She says.
all the trolley, I have one seat left on the trolley for 1:30. Other than that, it's
Really?
full, both trolleys.
Oh,
You know-
35 seats on each trolley and they're all full.
In the future, I was thinking about this,
It's unbelievable. It's cool.
and now like, we could probably run something like that through our registration software. Like, we don't have to charge a fee,
Mm-hmm.
so if we need to set up like a portal in the future, if they're doing stuff.
Well,
That
I
might be
want you
worth doing.
all to get your scarecrow hats on because that will be the next thing that's coming up and you need to put one up at the park. The cultural council.
Oh,
has a
the
scare-
contest.
Yeah, has a
Yeah.
scarecrow contest.
Oh, yeah,
This
that's right.
year, we are going to break it out into two sections. It's gonna be a business and government section and a family section.
Oh,
So
that's a good idea.
It makes it easier.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so get your scarecrow hats on.
And I think I sent you the picture, they ripped out all that stuff around the sign.
Yes.
The Eagle Scout's not touching the sign, he's continuing planting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they,
I know they got somebody who's supposed to do the sign.
I saw him before he went on vacation, but I didn't hear the update.
Are they gonna fix your arbor up there?
That's what he's gonna do, he's gonna replace the trellis and he's gonna do some plantings. Potentially he could work with us on our other sign.
Who can you get to like put down weed kill on that nice patio that you're having next to that building?
So that's probably something we could do internally, that's a grounds department thing. To say like, hey, can we treat this and try and put down some polymer sand?
Because you've got
Let
that
me put
nice
that in
brick
this.
patio up there with, and there's a table and chair there, but there's all
Where's
weeds
this?
up at
Founders
Founders
Park.
Park, right next to the historical building.
Mhm.
There's like a nice brick patio that connects to
Oh,
the
right,
building.
yeah,
But there's all kinds of weeds coming up and it's also in the walkway. But if somebody was to kill that, it looks so pretty.
Let me make a note to put that through, that would be a good thing for them to do, like going into the fall when it slows down.
Yeah, I mean, kill the weeds, and
Yes,
then next
okay.
year you might be able to put some like nice window boxes or something up there to make it look nice. I mean, on the 4th of July, I was next door and I could see people over there taking pictures and looking around at the park and everything, so, I mean,
Yeah. I'll mention it to him, I didn't see if he did, I know he was gonna prune those trees in the middle,
the big bushes,
the Christmas trees.
no, I don't think he's done that yet. Plus
I'll
you
see
have
how
those, I call it seagrass bushes up there.
Those are gone.
Okay.
So
They're
Patty, no,
really-
so they chopped them out and then he's gonna completely pull them and then we're gonna plant some sort of blue stem, but it's much lower. And land use, or some account is paying for it. And he's gonna put them in the ground, it's that Grisanti, Jake,
Oh, Jake,
yeah.
Are they, I noticed that the sidewalk was marked. Are they gonna dig up that sidewalk because of the reconstruction?
I don't know, so they're not touching any of the park.
No, they can't.
I don't know if Main Street North Ave gets widened any. I'm not entirely sure, I know that whole sidewalk needs work, and I think that's one of those things that John, we probably can't, we're gonna let them finish first. But it needs to all probably be ripped up and relayed,
Yeah.
but it also would be astronomical. There's federal, so I think, I don't know what's available right now, there was a federal program called Complete Streets. Kathy was really involved with it, and I think our new planner, Dylan, can work on it, but I think there's federal money out there, or there will be, for that, like walkable and
Yeah,
that kind of
because
work.
was it last year?
Because it is like a.
That, yeah, you can't, there's no way you can even go with a wheelchair.
Well, and that's gonna get cited in this ADA report, that's an ADA violation
Oh
the
my
town's
God.
looking to address.
Yeah.
So there will be more of a push.
And you're gonna have to take the trees down and get that.
Well, so yeah, no, I think they were those Bradford pears anyway, they were memorial trees, it was all this, but they're not trees.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I'll put that in about the walkway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna email John about the trash. Oh, there was something that just came to my mind, I don't know what it was now, but. Anyway, that, I guess, is that. I put under field use, so Nipmuc Youth Football is Nipmuc Youth Football and Cheer is looking to bring in light towers for Tatro and Clough. And I have not talked to my father yet, it may have been what they've done at Nisco.
mm-hmm.
Clough, I think we need to coordinate with the school. I just don't know if that's, like, if you all have any thoughts on it.
The temporary lights.
So yeah, portable light towers, I think I asked them for a clarification on their timing, like they're still gonna end at 8:30, like they're looking to be there late at night.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I got an answer on that yet. And I think Clough, they're gonna have to coordinate with the school, make sure they're just getting locked up,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if you guys are fine with it.
I would be fine with that, I mean, as long as we're not paying for it, you know?
I know, so there was some surplus facility money, speaking of light towers.
Mm-hmm.
We were fortunate to get, about $2,800 to buy generators.
Oh.
So we now have a generator for the beach snack shack,
Mm-hmm.
another generator that'll be used for the well, because it's a different building.
Yep.
And then a third smaller one that can be used for the classroom.
Oh, great.
But the small one is like, we bought one of the quiet ones.
Mm-hmm.
So if it comes out that we needed a generator for an event, we now have this available.
Mhm.
And also from Ellen, it can be used for elections. She needs access to a generator for her emergency planning because this is the generator.
Yep.
So that's good.
Are these like, would they be just single, double plugs, or they wired to do a?
No, they're portable. Well, they're portable, but
But even though they're portable, do they get plugged into like a transfer switch, so they?
they're gonna, we're gonna set up like probably a mechanical transfer switch for
Yeah.
the beach and for the well. I need to look at the well situation, figure out the best way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I probably will attempt to have it so it can just be plugged in, not a hardwire, not
Yeah.
automatic. You'll have to start it.
Yeah.
But basically for 3 months, if we lost power, we have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went to Harbor Freight with a trailer last week.
Oh.
Nice.
What kind of car do you have? I'm going, I'm prepared.
Got the card, yeah.
Yeah, we did. So that'd be nice. But then if we had like an event somewhere that we needed something, this would be potentially available. Anyway, so that, I don't have like the official request of the fall field use I mentioned. So soccer is a normal use. Field hockey wants Mondays. Football wants Tuesday, Thursdays plus Tetro. I've not heard from baseball, softball, but they usually don't have much.
Yeah, not in the fall.
So I think that's it. The only issue, and I know we talked previously, we're still having a ton of problems, I don't know if I say problems, with mainly baseball and tournaments and how we're scheduling things. There seems to be a major disconnect in the scheduling process. So we had told them we wanted permit for the beginning of the season,
Mm-hmm.
send us all the dates you want lights, ideally in advance. And then when you have a tournament, we were thinking we wanted a separate permit. That apparently didn't happen. They did a terrible job of getting the dates and times for the lights, which I think mostly we've worked out. And then the tournaments, it was like, we're thinking about this, and then it was like, what's the plan? And then, there's a tournament this weekend. I've talked to John Dudley about it, from their perspective, do we need to be charging extra fees? You having Mike put in extra hours, John basically said he wasn't too concerned about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, and we may want to have a meeting with baseball and softball at some point and talk this out and figure out the best way to approach it. I don't know, I just, from my perspective, I would like to know there's a tournament with enough time to say, hey, you can't have anybody show up before 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
When do you get this schedule from them generally? Did you get it in
This is
March
the problem.
day,
So
or-
what's been happening the last few years is baseball puts in their requests and they just say Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, Sunday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. From March 1st to July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
No nuance, which isn't necessary. And then and we bill hourly. We currently have a standing vote that we waived their use fees through, I think, 25 years, maybe 29, because they made a $25,000 donation towards the lights.
Yep.
We also had this capital improvement waiver, so like they redid the batting cage at Grant Field.
Mm-hmm.
So that was easily $5,000 to $10,000 worth of labor materials. So we were waiving their fees, and then I think later on we were saying, we waive 75% of your fees, but we want that 25%, so there's some skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really get any other requests. Like at one point, we were getting third-party groups and it was like trying to like, okay, somebody wants the field on Tuesday night and I have no idea if they just put in a block request.
Yeah.
Really at the game. But now that seems to have gone away. I really haven't gotten any outside requests for the lights yet, which is interesting. Just one related to softball beginning. So yeah, I don't know what the best way to handle it is. It sounds like in Upton, maybe the permit is just for the season. Like you just, for the fall, for the spring season, you get a permit for Monday nights, Tuesday nights, and then that's it.
Mhm.
Necessarily worry, and they just give you that whole block.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a better way of doing it.
I think for like baseball and softball, like those fields are very specific to baseball and softball.
Right.
Where like a soccer field can be used for football, it can be used for
Yeah.
field hockey, lacrosse. There's so many different other uses for just a big open field.
And they're not the problem, so to speak. They give me their schedule, they give me all their dates. It seems to be baseball and softball, and every year it's somebody different, and every year it's a little bit different. And then I ask for the lights, and I get like this giant sheet of every game, and I'm like, listen, I just need a list of dates and times.
Yeah.
I don't have time to decipher this, and then I'm getting calls, oh, the lights aren't on, and it's like, well, you didn't tell me about it.
Yeah.
John's getting calls because he coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me thinks, do we just give them access to the lights? My only fear is that it gets to a point where then they just show up and, oh, my kid's club team needs a home, and I want to make
You
sure
don't
we're
wanna do that.
billing.
We don't.
You wanna do that.
And nothing against them, and I think we've come a long way. There was problems years ago that we've gotten past.
Yeah, even though some of these club teams, they're not for profit, they're significant profit.
They're for profit.
No, but like NEFC, NEFC is officially a non-profit.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, did not know.
So I actually I talked to the assessor about this, it's very fascinating. Yes, they're legally, federally and state nonprofit.
Yeah.
But Mendon said they're not exempt from property tax anymore.
Oh.
Because they can use different standards.
Yeah.
So that was a whole drama, but.
I would imagine baseball and softball know who their new quote executives of the group are gonna be come January. I would assume they would be voted in by then.
Yeah.
So I would say in February, you call them to a meeting here and say, listen, this is the deal this year. We wanna have it run much more, smoothly.
Yeah.
We don't wanna be, willy-nillying around. This is what we expect. And we want it to, they start when, April 1st?
Pretty much, yeah.
So say you've got till March 25th or whatever to give me your schedules to lock it in for the year.
Mhm.
And that's what we're gonna go by.
Is there
That's
a,
fine.
like a read-only schedule, like once things are scheduled, that someone could go online, look at the
Yes.
town website and say, oh, youth baseball has it this night, or whatever.
If you go to our, it's on the parks page, it's mendonma.gov/parks-use.
Yep.
Get you there. And at the bottom of that is an embedded Google Calendar. Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
If you wanna see it, and that has what I've been given.
And then the whole.
And that's, but it's, and I'm not less super opposed to the whole, sorry, it's a mile.
There it is. Oh, that's cool though.
And you can,
That's
like,
not great.
you can tell, I only wanna see one field.
Yeah.
And I've been putting on here, so like this tells you it's permit number, grant field, Nipmuc baseball.
Oh, that's great.
Some of the pavilion, I put in, like, it'll just say private party.
Yeah.
If I wanna share people,
Oh, yeah.
somebody's game. Cause I would imagine they have their schedule, like, you don't
Yeah.
wake up and say, we're doing a tournament tomorrow.
No, you have to, if you have other teams coming in,
Yeah.
you need to tell them ahead.
And that's what I think we need to get to them, is like, and that was my thought with having a separate, a completely separate permit for the tournament.
I think that's a good idea.
Which is what we tried to do, and then it kind of fell apart, and maybe we should do that, we were thinking we were gonna charge a $250 fee for large tents, vehicles on the field, alcohol, and tournaments.
Yeah.
Depending on what the scope of it was, and then I think like Soccer Fest, then we said, here's your fee, okay, you donate, you did this shed, we were able to offset it, but at least we've accounted for the process, and I think we've pretty consistently been telling all the groups they need to pay the actual cost of the lights.
Mm-hmm.
And they want them, and that's not been an issue, but I think like you said, it would make sense to have a sit down with them in the spring and
Yep.
early winter and say, listen, we need to know what's going on. Because like we need to be able to say like, hey, you know, we have this going on, or hey, basketball, we need to cancel you tonight because there's a baseball tournament and we need to do our drop off over here.
Mhm.
You know, again, if we can get this road done, that will solve a lot of it. But I think, you know, for them to know, do extra mowing. But so you don't think, I guess, you don't think it's unreasonable to say we want a separate application for a tournament?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
With a deadline.
The tournament is a special event,
Yeah.
right? And it's different and it could require more resources, right? So,
I don't think there'd be a problem with that at all.
So I think that would be the way to go then, let's, and then maybe have a night meeting like next January, February, so we wanna sit down with
Yeah.
people and talk this out and just make sure we're on the same page. So that we can get everything locked in, that would be, I think, helpful. And we can chat with John, I'll talk to John summer too. We might have other thoughts on how they're managing it. All right, I think that was the main comment thing on here.
I think the only thing we had, we talked about it, just before you got here.
yeah,
Potentially, since the tennis may not run, if we were to say run an ad or something for somebody in town to do pickleball, then we would have courts.
Well, even in conjunction, the tennis is only like one night a week, so.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have the numbers to do this tennis thing.
Mhm.
Is somebody wanted to run a pickleball program, class?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody, I mean, so when I did it for Chris at Nitmark, it was really just me setting up courts.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, it wasn't like, it was just playtime.
Yeah, it was just playtime. And I mean, we could set something like that up as like a open, like the courts are reserved from whatever, 5 o'clock to 8:30 for pickup
Yeah,
pickleball. Like whoever shows up gets to play.
you mentioned this, I did buy a sign to go on that, I just haven't had time to set it up.
Okay.
But something that we can post like hours that the courts are reserved.
Yeah.
It's still sitting in my office, but it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, like, again, because I do think a pickleball class would be a big hit.
Yeah.
I'll make a post online, so like, is there anybody who wants to teach?
Who wants to teach it? Like, I mean, I play it, but I
Yeah.
can never.
So that's
I'm just a pattern.
When they find out that they wanna do like adults or kids, or
Yeah.
especially if it's kids, you gotta really think about what it's gonna look like.
Yeah.
So like this tennis program, you get a free racket
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, cause it's like, so whether we wanted to figure out a way to do that, and what it would cost, or.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Would you imagine it being like it's a sign-up program with a fee?
Yeah, and that's how this tennis thing was working, was, you pay $60-$70 and you charge more for non-residents. And then the instructor just takes a percentage and, we get a small thing.
I bet that, so Upton has their own special pickleball club. There may be someone from Upton who might be interested in it.
Okay. Is that what they're called,
The Upton Pickleball Club.
That's too easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I might have talked to them, I gotta go through my emails. Osborne, is that?
I don't know, so I went up there to use their courts one time, and they have like their own net set aside, locked up, and the courts are there, if they're not using them, you can use them, but you can bring your own net.
Yeah. Well, I know we talked at the previous meeting, and maybe remind me when we get into the fall, we should talk to the schools and book a night.
Yeah, I think that's, like, I would be willing to run that, like, I'd be willing to go there on, at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday night, and just hang out, and, if people wanna play it.
And we don't have to try, we can just, like you said, we can put up a registration with $0, just to get them to sign the waiver.
Yep.
We have money to buy the nets.
Mm-hmm.
That was left over, that was part of the money, CPA money, that was part of it.
Yeah.
So that would be like the final chunk of that project is to do this. I think aging was interesting too.
The thing is, so what was difficult about when I was doing it is the court, we had to set up the courts every single time. The courts they just set them up with these little rubber, mat things. I would rather put some tape on the floor or something a little bit more permanent that you get there, you put the net out front and you can start playing.
Where were you playing?
This was in the Nitmark gym.
In the NIM?
Yeah.
Cause I know, I don't know if they ever gonna do anything with the floor and, the upper gym at Nisco.
Yeah.
Because I wish we could get them to paint the lines, but. I don't know, I had to tell them, make a note, next time they go to do one of those floors, they need to talk to the towns.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, doing just a set of lines somehow,
Yeah.
I don't know how they, like how the basketball lines
They're
are
not
now,
gonna want tape.
but. No, they're probably gonna want
Gym
gym.
floor.
Right.
But like the upper gym,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it in the lower gym, I want something like that, I think the upper gym is kind of like,
is it usable for pickleball with that surface or no?
I think it is, I mean, it's not, you know, a professional may be like, oh, we can't play there, but it's pickup, it's playing around, getting, you know,
Yeah,
working up a sweat and getting some exercise.
I don't know, Chris had, I don't know if he ever, I know Chris had some cool ideas up there, he wanted indoor turf up there,
Yeah.
in the upper gym.
Wow.
Oh, really? That would have been pretty.
It was, yeah, I think it was just a bit expensive.
Yeah.
Cause I think it's like a rubber floor, if you've ever seen it,
I've never
I don't know how that, yeah.
I've really been in, the only thing I've been to the gym is the gym at
No.
the middle school.
No, they have another one in the back,
I've never been there.
Yeah.
and it was, at one point, it was like dual purpose cafeteria gym,
Yeah.
cause I used to have lunch up there, and I think it had locker, I think it used as classroom space.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, outside there's lockers, off of it, you can see the old cafeteria, you know, the windows
Yeah.
there. There's like a,
I can't remember if we had food up there, I think we ate lunch up there.
yeah, there's, like, it looks like there used to be a cafeteria there.
We must have got our food from those counters.
Yeah, and then there's a garage where they keep, like, the equipment, like,
Yeah,
gym equipment. Actually, if you ever, right now, the door is, there is broken. It's in the up position, it's gonna kill someone at some point.
and they're like totally, I know they're doing locks and.
Yeah.
Everything, all right, I think that's everything for now, I don't know.
The shed, were you able to get the shed?
Oh, so the deal with the shed, the move my shed actually called yesterday, I got called back finally. I did talk to what is it? Jeremy.
Yeah.
He was great. I've not processed the payment, I just know we'll never get it back, so we cannot pay, so we know this is a sure thing.
Right.
So hopefully, he didn't sell it out from under us, I don't understand if he did, but, I will call the shed people back. And then we're just gonna bug John and come out and clear a spot for it.
I think I'll be there on Wednesday. I should have checked.
I'll call tomorrow, I've been trying to deal with this credit card, because it's like every time you call, and then you gotta call this company, and you gotta call this company, you have to go back and forth,
I'm sure he labeled it,
so,
put a note on it.
yeah. And the camp would love to do that and get all that crap out there,
I'll take a look when we go there on Wednesday.
and that'll have all the toys and whatever. And then I'll keep, so I have the irrigation people are gonna come out and quote that. Allen Engineering's gonna come out. At one point, I gotta find it, John, there was some designer that John had that I was thinking to talk to about the bathrooms, but just to see if somebody can help us, like, just draw up some sketches of what our options are. And then,
I mean, do we even have like some, like Barry Iderola, like, could look at it and be like, this is what you can do here with what you have?
yeah, well, I think it's more architectural than, the plumbing is no problem, it's the like building, you know.
The building itself, yeah.
How much room do you really physically need to
Yeah.
make this a usable space?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll probably need to go to zoning and get a variance to be right on the road there.
Yeah.
You know, I'd probably look at maybe closing that gap between the two buildings.
Mhm.
But I think honestly, those buildings, I think I just take a sledgehammer to them and start over. It's made out of literal cinder blocks, so it's like cinders, but they like crumble.
Yeah,
And I think even if the septic thing doesn't play out,
yep,
I think we would still pursue this project and just, it goes into the same tight tank.
yep.
It doesn't really change anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if the septic thing works, I think it'll pay for itself in about 20 years, but.
Yeah.
Cause we're gonna have to pump it a week early.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Who does our pumping?
ADC,
Oh, ABC.
that's who I've been using since the previous company closed down. But, you know, they file all the paperwork, all the records they need to file.
Yeah.
And they're one of the few companies that when the literal shit hits the fan,
Yeah.
you call them, they will come out of nowhere, he's
Yeah, ABC, like, that guy's good.
He's coming
Yeah.
at 5 o'clock on a Friday
Yep.
and do stuff, I mean,
No kidding.
they've been really good. Barry's another one I roll, and that's like, they're not, if you call him,
Yeah.
he comes out.
Yeah.
Um,
Back up to ABC is also Abel Subtitles. Dan Schmidt used to live in town and
yeah,
he's always helping people out.
and at some point, I think that maybe the town may just go out to bid for all those
Yeah.
services.
Mhm.
But that's who we've been using for that stuff.
I am. Shall we pick our next meeting?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't know if I want to think about if something comes up, maybe before the 2nd. I don't have a whole lot of time, but if you think we need to meet or play it by ear.
Sister's supposed to pick me up at 6:30.
You're away until,
Tuesday.
What day were we thinking?
so I don't know, I'm booked pretty solid the week of the 20th of July. What is this, so that maybe got canceled, let me just double check. If we want, I mean, do you think it's worth meeting before?
It's up to you,
I too, if you think, I mean, it's not like, you don't need anything from parks.
but no,
Sorry, I'm just trying to look at my message here. When did we say this was happening? Tuesday and Wednesday only. So I'm available the 20th.
The 20th is good with me.
We're in August?
That's no July, if we think I'm all, and I could do July 27th.
I can't do the
Can't do the
27th.
20th.
I can't do the 27th.
I could do the 28th, but we probably should do it at the beach park because we have a concert that night, so I don't need to be over there.
Okay.
Roly-poly guacamole.
I love it.
They're really good. They're a children's band.
So the
Mhm.
28th,
That's an option, or later if we want to push it into August.
I can do the 28th.
no, I'm gonna do the
I think
20th.
historic's gonna be on the 3rd.
So what time, 6 o'clock at the beach?
I think if this still works at 5 or 5:30.
Yeah.
I can do 5, I can do 5:30, whatever, whichever.
I think tentatively we can meet in I'll just bring up. I got a camera and a tripod, we can meet in the beach house.
Mhm.
Okay,
We got air conditioning in there now. The table a little well, but
All right. So did we say 6 o'clock?
what do
5:30, he said.
5.
you said on the 28th.
28th, yeah,
Okay.
27th.
Alright.
That's my last meeting before the event, so.
17, was it 5 o'clock or 5:30?
The event,
What time, 5:30?
5:30.
5:30.
What would actually be really helpful, if somebody could reach out to me, like, make a note the week before.
I'll reach out to you because I
Tuesday?
have to put a thing in for the lock signing, so I'll remind you to put them on the agenda.
That's the problem, I know, I told Karen for historic, somebody has to, it's just so out of sight, out of mind for historic. And then like this one, even this one, I posted it at like 4:50, because all of a sudden, I saw Ellen, like, oh no. We just
I
got
have
into,
to run, I have another meeting.
okay,
Okay, yeah. Motion to adjourn then.
alright, yeah.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
I
Aye, aye.
I mean,
I did